So I have a confession to make. I'll start with that. If TED had invited me here about 6 years ago for a talk on women entrepreneurship, I wouldn't have done it. I probably would have done it, spoken for a minute and gotten off. And I'll tell you why. I always felt that people should judge me on my own merit. Why this big thing about guys and girls? Why does everybody make such a big deal about it? There shouldn't be that. You know, I should be judged on what I do. But you know what? Over the last 6 years, I realized something. I couldn't be further from the truth. We do need to make a big deal because there isn't a big enough deal being made. And it's not really about standing up for yourself. It's really just about standing up. I'll explain the difference. Bear with me. And I wouldn't have noticed this if I didn't have 2 daughters. So I have a daughter who's now about 5 and one who's 6 months old. And my 5-year-old and I started a tradition about 3 years ago, which was reading fairy tales. How many have read fairy tales when they were growing up? We all have? Okay, try revisiting them and you'll see the difference. Seriously, women princesses need rescuing all the time. What is this? What are we teaching our daughters? What are we teaching them then? Everything. We were just waiting there in a tower, waiting for the prince to rescue us. Seriously? Okay, guys, actually, you're equally to blame. I'll tell you why. Princess and the Pea. This guy wants to marry this princess who can't sleep because she can feel the pea under 11 mattresses. Picture this in real world now. You're sleeping, 3 a.m. Your girlfriend or your wife wakes you up and says, "Darling, I can feel a pea under the mattress." See, you want to marry this girl? There's something wrong. Okay? Wouldn't you just marry a girl who's like, "Hey, I felt something under the bed, fix that, and I actually, you know what? I didn't wake you up. Your dad needed to go to the doctor, so I drove him there." Wouldn't you want to marry that girl? And girls, why should Prince Charming have all the fun? Shouldn't we be out there in the real world on a horse, enjoying ourselves too? Why are we waiting in a tower to be rescued? Alright, so once I saw that, I started making up my own fairy tales because I didn't have a choice. But about 8 months ago, my daughter, who now likes to read along, said, "Can you get some books?" Try searching online or at a bookstore. There are no real world fairy tales. I finally ended up with 4 books, phenomenal. Don't Kiss the Frog, Princess Knight, things like that. And I realized I was being so selfish. There are such few examples of women entrepreneurs. And if we didn't stand up, then we're no better than the fairy tales because that's what everybody will keep believing. So actually, women like me needed to make a change. We were in a position to do that and we were being so selfish, we didn't deserve this position at all. So I'll give you a brief background on myself. I grew up in a fairly conservative household, much like most people from Delhi. If you met me in college, you'd probably vote me like my friends, most likely to get married first. Or as my professors said while I was graduating, especially one of them, most likely to do nothing with a degree. Alright? Probably true, would have happened that way. I wanted to join my dad's real estate business and I was told girls don't do that. So I said okay. I applied to schools in the US, went there, and that is where the change started happening. I ended up taking a class with what I thought was the most annoying professor. He'd pick on me all the time. I was this quiet, unsure girl from Delhi. Seriously, leave me alone. It was so annoying. He'd ask me questions. And you know, after that I realized, this is great. I should speak up. And when I started speaking up, people started listening to me. And soon, I wasn't scared of speaking up. The only reason I wasn't asking a question was because I hesitated. And once I got past that, I was on fire. I actually started several clubs, met so many successful entrepreneurs, and that was it. Something inside me was lit. I knew I needed to do something. There was a point here, which is champions and mentors. Okay, for any aspiring entrepreneur, very, very important. Bill, annoying as he was a champion. Whether he realized it or not, he was a mentor. He helped me understand something that was very important, and that is to speak up. And I request all of you, especially women entrepreneurs, find your mentors. They are so important, and you will realize this. They help you grow, whether you go the professional route or the entrepreneurship route. They matter. They make a difference to whatever you do. So I set up the first business, which oddly enough is marketing in real estate, along with the US market. It's digital marketing for the real estate market in the US. And I moved back to the US. And 2 years later, I ended up marrying my best friend. Best bloody move I could have made in my life. Because it's very important to have people in life who believe in you and encourage you. And in 2009, I told him, look, I think I want to go back. I want to look at an opportunity which I believe in. And I basically moved back from the US in a suitcase. Just left everything. We had this beautiful apartment, left it, and moved back. And when I got here, interestingly, I started MyDala in 2009. And oddly enough, I was pregnant. So the joke goes, Anisha's going to have 2 babies in one go. And turns out I did, because they both required the same amount of hand-holding. But I couldn't have done that if I didn't have the positive network around me. But you know what is really cool? I ended up with co-founders who ended up becoming my pillars of strength. And you know what the best part is, guys out there? They're men. They're, I believe, real men. It takes serious real men to not be insecure, to let, at that point, a very pregnant woman tell you that this is going to happen. And believe it. Believe in the story. You know, seriously. It takes a lot of superpower to do that. But the point I'm trying to make here is that women entrepreneurship and change is not just about women. You know, as guys, you've got to realize what a difference it makes when you just tell somebody, I believe in you. It's going to happen. It does happen, you know. So, and actually for my core team, most of my core team is guys, all right? Although I have some really seriously killer girls on there. They're awesome. They rock it. But most of them are guys. And they have been champions in encouraging me all the way through. So for those of you who don't know about MyDala, let me give you a quick background. When we started, everybody talked to us about being a deal site. That's not what we are. We're essentially a merchant marketing platform on the back end. What we help do is enable businesses. We saw a real opportunity here to help market local businesses. So businesses that, you know, in places like Indore, Siliguri, Bhubaneswar, Guwahati, they have very few ways of marketing themselves. Think about it. There's newspapers and there's, you know, radio. Everything requiring cash up front. We saw an opportunity. We said, there's a real need here for merchants to track ROI. Let's do this. So we built out networks and alliances that allowed us to access tier 2 and tier 3 towns. And now, basically, it enabled us to get to, you know, a local presence in 200 cities pan-India. We haven't raised much funding compared to all the other online players, but phenomenally profitable. We enable about 600 million USD of retail commerce on an annual basis. And we have about 50 million unique visitors that come to MyDala monthly on our MyDala network. Those numbers are phenomenal. For anybody who tracks Flipkart, you will see these numbers are phenomenal. So we innovated, we moved forward. And all this now is very rosy. However, it wasn't always the case. Try being, so when we went out to raise our first round of funding, I was essentially 8 months pregnant. You know, it's most amusing when I look back at it now, to think of the face that the VCs had on when I'd walk in. Imagine just this 8-month pregnant woman walking in, asking for funding. It took serious professionalism to keep a straight face. I had many well-wishers tell me that I would, you know, this was my first kid and I wouldn't know what it's like, and I would either run MyDala or I would have the kid and stop. But I knew something that they didn't. You know what that is? I knew myself. I knew that I was going to make this happen, that both were my babies and I would not let go of either one. So 10 days post-pregnancy, and seriously, that was very ambitious. I didn't know what it was like to have a baby. I went back to work. I was good in hindsight. It just kept me running. It kept me motivated. And there was a joke, Anisha took a 10-day vacation and came back. But I say this because there's a statistic out there that says that women in general, 48% of the professional working women in India quit at a junior level or a mid-level. That's lower than any Asian counterpart. And that's kind of sad, right? I mean, if we can just change that statistic, even turn it down slightly, how nice would that be? You know, Pandit Nehru said that a woman moves forward, the family moves forward, then the village, then the nation. All right, back to my next point. And ladies, you might not like this. This is really about us. So, in the last 10 years, I've noticed this pattern. Have you noticed? We make great friends as women, really good friends. We're always there for each other. We make great sisters, mothers, everything. But we're seriously, when it comes to professional women, encouraging each other. Have you seen how many do that? Have we seen professional networks that are women focused? No. We're an insecure bunch. What's up with that? And I never spoke about this, ever. I would never, ever, ever talk about this. But the fact of the matter is, we need to talk about this. I don't know what it is. We hesitate in complimenting each other, professionally especially. We'd be there for our best friends, but seriously, we get threatened by anybody who's a female counterpart. And guys don't have that problem. I've seen guys, they'll walk into the same competition, it's the same startup competition, they'll try and raise money, and they'll be like, high five, you know. We, on the other hand, are like, whoa, competition. Why? Why do we do that? I mean, we're phenomenal on our own. Why do we need to do that? But we do. And it's kind of sad. I'll give you an example. I met this woman. She's a female fellow entrepreneur. She started with me in the .com space. So if you followed it back then, when we started, both of us were enabling online to offline commerce. I thought she was phenomenal. And yes, I was kind of wary of her. And I met her 6 months ago at a party. And you know what I did? I walked up to her and I told her, so you were phenomenal. I was scared of you. You were my true competition. I thought you did an amazing job. And she kept quiet. She just stared at me. First I thought I said something wrong. You know, I had been having wine. I was like, maybe I threw an abuse in there, something. But the fact of the matter is, she turned around and she's like, no one's ever said that to me. No female. Isn't that kind of sad? Seriously, we can't encourage each other. My request to all of you is, encourage each other, not just as friends, as professional females. And you'll see the change happen. You'll see the difference. You know, we need to go out there. There are not enough support networks. And when the chips are down, so you know, it's all good. When you're successful, people will tell you that. You then have a lot of well-wishers. You have people telling you what an amazing job you've done. But I've come through some really bad times. And you will have them. As an entrepreneur, I don't know any entrepreneur. I've met entrepreneurs who said, after 11 years, I have an overnight success. And that is pretty much the truth about all of us. And at that point, people will praise you. But before that, there'll be many naysayers. And the only thing that will carry you through is a positive network. At that point, you do need to lead to entrepreneurs or friends who have been there, done that. So my last point, which is the ambiguous title, Aren't You Gorgeous Today? I bet the boys thought that, what is this, beauty talk? Seriously, we have to sit in on this? This is more so about loving yourself and not doubting. I'm going to let you in on a secret. And any entrepreneur will tell you, this is the holy grail of being successful. And that is belief in what you're doing, yourself, and determination to make it happen. To keep getting back up when your chips are down. Nothing else. Seriously. I mean, when we started, we got angel funding, all right? Then came the deal site wave. There were 48 other deal sites. 20 of them probably more funded than Maidala could ever have been. You know, at that point, we should have been scared and shut shop, like many sites did. You know, we didn't have the money. You know, we definitely didn't have the backing. And we could have done that. But it was determination. And you know what the odd thing is? Determination leads to motivation, which leads to innovation. And I stand by that. Because we started innovating. I joke about it. It's Jugaad innovation. We found ways to market that everybody else was blowing money on TV ads. We figured out we could ride the wave, building out alliance networks that gave us reach into pan-India. We now are able to, because of our alliances with the telcos, crunch data to the extent, we sit on mounds and mounds of data. We can crunch it. We're the only player that knows local shopping patterns to the extent where I can tell you, Siliguri likes to eat Chinese on a Friday night at this price band. Imagine what it does for people. You suddenly have access and understanding into all of India. It was phenomenal. Suddenly, people who shooed us away and didn't want to work with us were back knocking on our doors and saying, guys, let's make this alliance happen. It's been great. But seriously, all that carried me through, all that carried my dream through was determination. I was determined at points, and I can't say that I was the only one determined. There were times that my team was determined, but it was infectious. You have to have that. You have to have the ability to get back up no matter what happens. So the point I'm trying to make here is, the title of the talk came from when I was in school in DC. You know, we'd be working overnight on different papers, very much like you guys. And you could have, there was a mirror where somebody had just scribbled, "Why aren't you gorgeous today?" And I swear to God, we'd have oily hairs, bunched up, you're about to present, you know, no makeup, no nothing, looking pretty much like scum. And you'd look at the mirror and you're like, I'm not so bad after all. Now don't get me wrong, I don't walk up to the mirror every day and say, wow, so gorgeous. But what I do have, and what it does is belief in yourself. You have to have that. And it stands for any entrepreneur. All right, so this goes for especially the females out here, because I know we love to do this. We're experts at this. Don't doubt yourself. Speak up. Yes, it might sound dumb. We like to be over-prepared. We like to have the most intelligent thing to say. Don't. Just speak up. Because sometimes it's about that. The moment's gone, you know, if you don't speak up. And the second thing is, don't overthink. You want to start a venture? I know guys were like, we wanted to start it, we just went, go for it. Women, on the other hand, are like, I want to think about it. I want to talk to my family. I want to talk about this one. I want to talk to my chacha, my taya, everybody. I want to talk to my uncle, aunt, niece, nephew, everybody. Don't. Make a go of it. What's the worst that's going to happen? It'll fail. We'll get back up, learn something, dust, and move on. And you'll succeed. That's how people do it. So my request to all the super women who are listening to this is give yourself a pat on the back because you're phenomenal. All of you. Turn to the other females and tell them how phenomenal they are. We need to do this together. Seriously. And the last thing, don't doubt. Because whatever we do, we'll do it gorgeously, phenomenally, whatever. We will. We'll do it. We'll make it happen. So make the change happen. Thank you.